name first, tell me where you're from.
I'm Sean.
Yeah.
I'm from Life Community Church, which is John Andrew Butcher's church, just down the road.
Oh, okay.
We met like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I did an event here, didn't I?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right, yeah.
That's right. At the moment, the history of Hog Pentecostal Church was incredible. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, they had these huge, crazy events where the Holy Spirit was poured out so much, people walked in and were saved, people walked in and were healed. And we don't see that very much anymore at church. I just think prayer, as in praying for hours, for a few hours, spending that kind of extended time of prayer, plays a part in seeing the Holy Spirit, and do you think that's something that's missing in churches?
I think it does play a part. I don't think necessarily it is the whole answer, and I think a church that just commits itself to just praying has fully missed the whole picture of what the Bible teaches. I think a culture of prayer, as opposed to one big prayer meeting, is a much healthier thing for the life of a church, where they are a praying people, where you have an expectation that everybody's in prayer, and that there's a lifestyle of prayer, as opposed to a prayer meeting where we all shout a lot because God's obviously deaf, and and rebuke the devil because that's what's stopping anything moving forward. I think when you get a great culture of prayer, you realise that God's listening all the time, that He responds quite actively when we talk to Him, and that He doesn't just respond to the loudest person in the room. So from my perspective, having a great culture of prayer. So we don't have a prayer meeting in our church. So our church has gone from 60 to 1,000, 1,200 now in 3.5 years. And we've probably held 3 prayer meetings. But we have a strong culture of prayer that runs through the church and that really dictates what we do and how we do it. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's the best I've got right now.
Fair enough.
Cool. Yeah.
Hi.
Tell your name, where are you from?
Tanya, and I'm originally from Derby, but I live in a small hamlet called Warsaw now.
Okay.
I work for a CLV church, Church of England, sorry. And I was Pentecostal, born and bred and raised, and obviously now with the transition, it is absolutely, completely 100% different to what everything I've known as the norm. I find myself constantly defending to other leaders in my church and the PCC, which is the
Broken Church Council.
There we go, the PCC. My customs, my ways, speaking in tongues, even raising hands. How would you, as me as a leader, trying to be respectful to other leaders and also being submissive at the same time, but also holding on to what I believe? What would you say?
I think you've got to ask some culture questions first of all. Do you do those things because culturally what you're brought up with, or because you have a conviction they're the right thing for you to do? Because it's better to start with you than start with them. Because if you start with this is what's wrong with them, then that becomes a blame game. But you start with you, go, okay God, is there some stuff I'm doing because I've always have? And if I'm just doing it for that reason, it's not a good enough reason. So you have to start to examine those kind of questions and make sure, you know what, I'm doing this because I feel it's a God thing. And then you've got to decide who's leading this church. Because I'm assuming you've not come in as the senior pastor.
No, it's not.
So what they want in terms of leadership, I'd be having a conversation with them and going, this is where I stand personally, this is what I believe personally, how do you want me to function in fulfilling that belief?
My priest has no problem with me.
Then I would let him fight for you. Don't fight people. Whenever we fight, we don't give God the opportunity to answer for us. So I just find not fighting is the best way of dealing with things. And then God goes, okay, let me deal with this. And talk to your priest. Just say, hey, this is the deal. This is what they're saying. Keep your accountability right there, because what you don't want this to be is a heart issue for you. Because if this is going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong in your heart.
Sort of like a call to serve the house thing, not the house being called to serve.
Absolutely. Yeah. You wouldn't have thought twice about it if it didn't clash with your personal culture. But it's clashing with your culture. It's not actually clashing with your beliefs. Or is it? You have to work that out. Yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Marielle.
Hi.
I work with youth, and I was wanting to know how you can, in terms of really fully engaging the youth and them walking in their purpose and them being mobilised and fully engaged. if you've got any ideas about how we could do that further. I know it's about purpose.
Yeah.
How you've achieved that.
Yeah, we work really hard from the discipling angle. We have a great youth ministry. I am not our youth pastor. I have been a youth pastor for a long time now. But we work incredibly hard from a discipleship angle. Young people respond to messages and they respond in worship, but that doesn't disciple them. That creates the opportunities to change, and then discipleship is what brings that change through. So if we'd have done what I just did this evening, our youth programme will be structured for the next months to make that a reality in their lives. So we're thinking through, what does a message mean, how does that affect them, what do we help them put into place to bring change?
So practical application.
Oh, yeah, an intentional application as well. So getting alongside them. So for us, every young person has a leader that's their key leader and works with them, you know, probably in a secular term it would be a key worker. And we work hard at building great relationships. So I have 2 daughters in youth now, and I know who their key leaders are, not because I've chosen them, I've kept out of it, because I watch how they interact with my kids. So I know who their key leaders are, and you know, I know who their key leaders are. So I know what's going on and how it's happening, but the discipleship happens there. I think as well though, and from my perspective, the discipleship happens in the home. And you know, where you've got Christian kids, don't take parents' role. You know, parents are responsible for bringing up their kids. And if you've got Christian parents who think as the youth worker it's your responsibility, they need a wake-up call. It's their responsibility. And you know, so me as a dad and me and Julie's parents, yeah, we work hard on discipling our kids, because this is how we want you to live. Yeah, that's the big deal for us. Yep.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Renee.
Hi Renee.
I'm part of the GL360 TV recording today.
Okay.
I just want to ask you, just off the top of my head, as a leader, what does all or nothing mean to you? Because we are at an event today called All or Nothing.
All or nothing for me means I get to serve Errol. That's what it means to me. So it's me being able to say, what do you want? How do you want me to play this? How do I best serve you? So Errol made choices to invest into his own life by time with me, and that's, you know, that's always works both ways because he's a great guy. But for me, it's my chance to go, let me just serve you. What do you want me to do? So all or nothing is nothing for me. It's not about the young people. It's about serving him. Now, because for him it's about the young people, that means that through him, for me, it's about the young people. But primarily, I'm here for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chantal, originally from London, now live in South End.
What about from London?
North West London. Wembley.
Northwest. Oh, sorry, Southeast.
I don't like South East.
You get over it.
South East is much better than
So, what about you in Southeast?
Lewisham.
Lewisham, whereabouts?
In Catford.
Catford! I lived in Catford. Where in Catford?
Beechwood Road. Just off Stansted Road, by St.
Yeah.
Dunstan.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Okay, so Beechwood's,
Beachfield.
is it going up the hill? On the left?
No.
On the right side?
It's just near St. Dunstan.
Yeah.
On the right.
So the St. Dunstan's on the corner,
Yeah.
road bends round it.
Yeah. And we go that way.
So you back towards Forest Hill?
Don't put this on the camera.
Back towards Forest Hill?
Yeah, just near Forest Hill.
Okay, so I lived in Blythe Vale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Northwest London, yes.
No, just a quick question for you. Do you think there is an age that is too young for young people to be in leadership?
No.
Why?
Because then you're going to blanketly judge every person that their age decides their maturity. There's plenty of our young people that are great leaders. So my daughter's 15, she leads a small group which is made up of 14-year-old girls. So she's in, most of them are in a year group at school, but she leads it. My 12-year-old couldn't do that because just how they are, they're very different kids. There's no criticism of my middle daughter. It's just that's just her personality type, and her maturity is just very different. She stayed younger, longer, which I have no problem with. I'd rather they both stayed younger, longer. But I think it's a maturity that you're looking for the question of. Once you start putting ages on stuff, you're putting ages on, you know, when can they lead in church, when can they play in a band. I think once you've got ages, you're defining people by something that's not necessarily real. You've got to remember, in a Jewish culture, at 12, everyone's an adult. So you're talking about the maturity of people. That's why the discipling and the relational side of it, that's the key thing for me. Cool. Yes, sir. Cool.
How did you have to build in all those structures of discipleship?
Yeah.
So you went from nothing and built in. Was that a struggle? And what kind of strategies did you?
No, not a struggle in the sense of it's all intentional. So we're deciding beforehand what we want to do, how do we want to do it, which really began with what are the outcomes we're after. So this is what we're looking for, right, what gets us there. So in terms of our thinking, we're very strategic, plan, think it through, talk it through, and then believe God will move in the structure, and then through the structure, and then around the structure. So getting this real sense of God about the structure itself. So very intentional. We disciple heavily in the life of church as well. So of those 1,200 people in the life of our church, at least 800 are in a small group. And are in a key relationship with someone who's in a key relationship with someone that you can trace it back to core leadership of the church. And work incredibly hard structurally to get that right. And when the structure don't work, change the structure. Structure is a servant, not a master. So we work hard on doing that. And part of my role is to oversee all the structural elements of the life of our church. So if I don't like it, or it ain't working, or something don't feel good, boom, change. Massive change. Change anything. Doesn't bother us.
It's been a struggle, because it's not traditionally the way things are done. Trying to move it. You have individuals that do it naturally, but trying to implement
from our perspective?
Oh, it has been from...
For your perspective? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I was a youth pastor in a church that was 75 years old. So it's nothing for C of E, but for someone who's not, that's an old church. And loads of structures. And we came to the conclusion that there's only one option here. Got to blow them all up because it's killing us. The structure is killing our growth. Blew them all up, started again, life came back.
You had the full agreement with the leadership.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Didn't do anything like that.